Welcome back to the series where I turn pride flags into Pokemon teams. For this video, I'm doing the non-binary flag. And as an added bonus, every single Pokemon on this team that I will be using is genderless, because that's part of what being non-binary is, baby. Special thank you to the Twitch streamer Pencils for coming up with this team idea. If you have a pride flag that you would like to see as a Pokemon team, please comment one down below, and I will use it. And if you like this kind of content, feel free to subscribe. I would really appreciate it. So as I mentioned, every single Pokemon on this team is gender unknown or genderless. I thought that was the most fitting way to do this non-binary team. Even though there are Pokemon that do have this color scheme, they had a filthy gender attached to them, so I didn't really include them. In my original team, I had Raikou as the non-binary mascot. I thought its colors were really great. It has yellow and black stripes along with the purple thundercloud on its back and a whole lot of white. So in my opinion, it is the best fit for the non-binary flag. But since I'm only using genderless Pokemon, it actually made things really difficult to try to make a full team for a non-binary flag. So I have Raikou's cousin Raging Bolt on this team as well. Even though Raging Bolt has a lot of red to its design, it does still have the 4 main colors of the non-binary flag anyway. So I had to include both Raging Bolt and Raikou on this team. Now the next Pokemon that I included is Miraidon, which was another Pokemon that I was genuinely thinking about in my original non-binary flag pick. Miraidon just has all of the colors and it's genderless, so it definitely qualifies for this type of video. The next Pokemon I included was Lunala. Lunala represented the Enbian flag back when I did the Pride flag teams, and that flag is really pretty. It's also a flag for non-binary people that love other non-binary people, so I thought it was a fitting Pokemon for this type of team while also having the colors of the non-binary flag as well. So when I make a Pride flag team like this non-binary one, for example, I typically want Pokemon that have all 4 of the colors on it, but if I can't find a Pokemon with all 4 of those colors, then I'll at the very least settle for 3. So the next pick is Poltegeist. Now Poltegeist doesn't really have any black on it, but it is still a genderless little fella, and I wanted to include it on this team just because there really weren't a lot of options to choose from out of all of the genderless Pokemon, both non-shiny and shiny, and I thought Poltegeist was just a really good fit for this type of team. The last Pokemon I have on my team is God. So that's the team of Pokemon that I'm going to be using for this non-binary Pokemon team. Let me know what you think. And without further ado, let's get right into the battles. Good morning, afternoon, and evening, lovely people. Today I am using a non-binary flag team. While I was doing the narration for this video, my file got corrupted, so now I have to do it all over again. How fun. Now I'm using a legendary team because I have Pokemon like Arceus, Miraidon, and Lunala on this team. So I had to face off against opposing legendary or Ubers teams. Now I have 2 really interesting battles to showcase in this video, and I hope you enjoy them. Now, I'm gonna get knocked off by the Scizor lead. I just went for the Shadow Ball because I unfortunately couldn't set up a Shell Smash in front of this because I knew that the Scizor would just revenge KO me with Bullet Punch anyway. So on the anticipated Bullet Punch, I'm just gonna bring in my Miraidon here. Now, this Miraidon is a physical set because I wanted to run a physical Miraidon just because I had used a special Koraidon in the past, so it's only natural that I use a physical one. Now, this has Terrain Extender. That's going to help out my electric types, like my Raging Bolt and my Raikou. And as they bring in the Landorus Therian, I just went for the U-turn, anticipating that to want to swap in. So I was like, okay, that's good. I'm going to bring in my Lunala here. Now, this is the same specially defensive Lunala that I used back when I did the Pride flag teams with the Enbian flag, which I love that flag. This Lunala actually had Ice Beam. I went back and forth with the moves on this because I had Teleport instead of Ice Beam, but this team was really weak to ground types. Like, King Lu was like public enemy number 1 versus this team. So I had to like put Teleport on this set, and I have Will-O-Wisp and Hex and Moonlight on this as recovery as well. So the Hex is going to be able to take out the Scizor. I wanted to recover myself up back to my Shadow Shield ability. So now they're going to bring in their Koraidon. Now, this Pokemon is very threatening. And unfortunately, I didn't really see an opportunity for me to set up a Shell Smash against the rest of their team. So I'm just going to bring in my Poltegeist and I'm just going to sack it. This Poltegeist has Focus Sash, Shell Smash, Sword Power, Shadow Ball, and Terra Blast Ground for like Miraidon and Zacian Crowned. also have weak armor as my ability on this too. So this Koraidon is going to go for the Terrifier Flare Blitz on my poor Teapot on 1 HP. That's going to easily take out my Poltergeist. But like I said, I was kind of sacrificing it because I didn't really have much that I wanted to switch into this Koraidon. I kind of figured that they would go for like a dragon move of some kind. So bring in my Raging Bolt. Now, this Pokemon works perfectly with the electric terrain that I have. The Koraidon is going to swap out into their Landorusterian, and I actually went for the Weather Ball. I have Choice Specs Weather Ball, and with the Photosynthesis special attack boost, and this Weather Ball being doubled in base power, that's going to one-shot the Landorus. I was like, holy smokes, that was such a good KO. Now, this also has Rising Voltage, which gets a double... it doubles in base power in electric terrain. It's the only Pokemon with this move, and I have Terra Electric on that as well with Rising Voltage and Thunderclap for priority and Draco Meteor as my last move. So the Fluttermane is going to come in with its booster, with its Photosynthesis in speed. I'm not sure what item it could be running, if it's like Choice Specs or like Sash or something. So they are going to bring their own Miraidon into my Lunala here. Now I just went for the Moonlight with the Sun from Koraidon's Orichalcum Pulse. I'm going to be able to recover up all the way back up to full, which is great. And I'm just going to bring in my own Miraidon, anticipating that they would go for an Electro Drift this turn, which they are able to do. So this was a bit of a rough turn because I had to rely on a speed tie because I'm max speed Jolly, and I wanted to go for the Dragon Claw just to chip this Miraidon, but unfortunately I lose the speed tie and they are going to outspeed me and take out my Miraidon with the Draco Meteor. So they are going to actually interestingly be a Jetpack Draco Meteor as well, which is going to swap them out, and they are going to bring in their Primarina. So I was like, I'm perfectly fine with that. I could just bring back in my Raging Bolt, and with the electric terrain, I'm going to get that double base power Rising Voltage that does so much damage. It takes out this Primarina. This Pokemon with Choice Specs Rising Voltage does just an illegal amount of damage, basically. Like, I had a battle where I like one-hit KO'd an Archaludon with this. It was actually kind of like bonkers just how much it did. So the Koraidon is going to come in. They are going to go for the Scale Shot. So I was like, okay, well, I low-key was hoping that they weren't loaded dice. But, like, they are going to be loaded dice, obviously, if they're running Scale Shot on this Koraidon. And that's going to be enough to take out my Raging Bolt. Now, this Pokemon is definitely very threatening. My last Pokemon are my Arceus, my Lunala, and my Raikou. Now, I knew that my Arceus could potentially tank a Flare Blitz from this Koraidon, and since they got a defense drop, I was thinking that Shadow Claw might do a sizable chunk of damage and maybe even take it out after recoil. So they are going to go for the Flare Blitz, but they unfortunately burn me. Oh man, that's really unfortunate for my spooky Arceus. I thought this Pokemon matched the non-binary flag, considering I really prioritized the colors yellow and purple for this non-binary flag team, which is why I also have Poltergeist on this team. I didn't mention that in the intro, but I really wanted to prioritize yellow and purple as like the main colors on the Pokemon. So as Miraidon comes in, I was like, that's fine. I actually have this is a Dragon Dance Facade Arceus with Shadow Claw and Taunt. I didn't want to run Swords Dance Extreme Speed Arceus just because that feels too standard for an Arceus. I did want to run like Shadow Claw because the Arceus doesn't really get a lot of like Ghost type moves. So they're gonna go for the Electro Drift as I bring in my Lunala here, after my Arceus faints from the burn. I am going to go for the Moonlight. Now, I wanted to stall out this Pokemon's electric terrain, but I also was like, I should be able to pick up a KO with the Ice Beam that I have on this, even though I don't have any special attack investment. Unfortunately, the Miraidon just tanks it, though. Ugh, it lives on like a sliver. That's unfortunate because they're going to be able to go for another Electro Drift, which is going to do a lot more damage because I'm not at my Shadow Shield anymore. And I am going to go for the Hex and take out the Miraidon at the very least. So, I knew that they have a Terrifier Koraidon in the back, as well as the Fluttermane. Now, Koraidon comes in. I can't switch out my Lunala because I don't want my Raikou to get one-shot by this Terrifier Flare Blitz. And I had a plan in the back with my Raikou. So they are just going to take me out with the Flare Blitz. And I'm going to bring in my Raikou. Now, my Raikou is a physical set with Life Orb. It's pretty interesting. This has Supercell Slam, which also is helpful with the electric terrain set up by Miraidon. Crunch, Trailblaze, and I have Terra Normal Extreme Speed with this, with the Life Orb. So, The Koraidon put itself on a very low amount of HP, considering how much it did with the Flare Blitz against my Lunala. So I'm going to go for the Terra Normal Extreme Speed, and that is going to be enough to take out the Koraidon. So I was like, okay, that's really good. Now, after my Life Orb damage, I was thinking that I might be able to tank a hit from Flutter Mane if it's like Choice Specs or something. So they are going to bring in the Flutter Mane. They are going to get that Photosynthesis in speed, and I was like, please, please, please take this Moonblast, please. And I do take the Moonblast. I was like, oh, that's perfect. The special attack drop doesn't matter. I land the Supercell Slam, and they're not Focus Sash. That is going to be enough to take out the Flutter Mane. But since I'm Life Orb, I'm actually going to be able to take myself out from my own Life Orb. So this battle actually ended up being a draw in the end. Holy smokes. I don't get ties or draws very often. But that was such an insane battle. That was an insane ending to this game. Hope you all are enjoying this video. If you're enjoying it, please, please, please consider hitting the like button. I would really appreciate it. And consider sharing this video with any like non-binary people that you may know. I'm sure they may appreciate this type of team, especially since there's only like genderless Pokemon on this team as well. So this turn one was pretty interesting. Pikachu is going to lead off, and they're going to be Terra Flying. So I was like, okay, well, they for sure anticipated that I would go for an Earthquake, which is fair because Arceus sometimes run that, but I just went for the Shadow Claw, and oh my goodness, poor Pikachu. Oh, I feel so bad for that KO. I just wanted to celebrate his birthday, but God said no. So that's going to take out the Pikachu, and they're going to bring in their Zacian Crown. Now, this Pokemon is definitely a giant threat, and they are going to go for the Swords Dance. Now, this turn, I thought, should be able to tank any hit. Arceus, you know, this Pokemon has like base 120 stats across the board. It is very bulky, even though I'm running a sweeping set. So I should be able to tank whatever this Zacian Crown goes for. And I went for the Dragon Dance, and I'm going to go for the +1 Shadow Claw. It does some good damage. It does a good chunk of damage. I didn't think it would take it out, but it just does under half. And I needed to condition this Zacian for my my Poltegeist. So I have Focus Sash on this, and they are going to go for the Behemoth Blade. That is going to take me all the way down to my Focus Sash. But the important thing was that it also activates my Weak Armor, which is going to give me +2 in speed. And I also went for the Shell Smash this turn because I figured that, like, if I didn't go for the Shell Smash, Shadow Ball would not be enough to take out this Zacian. So I'm also going to increase my special attack by 2 stages as well. And it's also going to give me a very powerful stored power. I kind of figured that they had an answer for this in the back. But I wanted to take out this Zacian Crown anyway, which is a giant threat. So going for the Shadow Ball, that is going to be enough to take out the Zacian, thankfully. Now, they unfortunately have the Skeledirge, which is more than likely going to be unaware, which ignores my stat boost. Even though I have a 180 base power stored power, I believe, after all of my stat boosts, it's still not even going to be enough to take out the Skeledirge, but it does more damage than super effective Shadow Ball. So they're going to take me out with the Torch Saw. They are going to be a more offensive Skeledirge with the Throat Spray. So I was like, okay, well, I could just Revenge KO this Pokemon with my physical Miraidon here. So I'm going to activate my Hadron Engine and go for the Dragon Claw and take out the Skeledirge. Now, it had a very threatening Pokemon in the back, being their Ursaluna. Like I said, ground types and this team were definitely like not a good match. Also, like, Shanpao was really threatening into this team too. So they are going to go for the Protect this turn. That's going to activate their Guts ability. And they interestingly go for the Facade as I Dragon Claw them. So I was like, okay, well, they don't go for Earthquake, but even the Facade is just going to one-shot my Miraidon. Holy smokes, this Pokemon is just so powerful. It has the, I think it has the most powerful Facade in the game, not counting like Terra or anything. So, bringing in my Raging Bolt, I thought, okay, I'm just going to drop a Draco because they have no switches into my Choice Specs Draco Meteor, and thankfully I'm able to check out the Ursaluna. Also, I don't miss. If I missed, that would have been a disaster. That would have been curtains. So, they're going to bring in the Mouse family, and now I stayed in and went for another Draco Meteor on the off chance that they wanted to set up with their Tidy Up, which is fair because I'm like -2 special attack after the Draco Meteor. But they end up going for the Population Bomb, which I actually am able to tank. And also, Draco Meteor critical hits the Mouse family. I was like, holy cow, that was a crazy KO. I did have a revenge Pokemon that could revenge KO that anyway, but like that was crazy getting that KO. So the last Pokemon is another Koraidon, and I thought, okay, well, obviously my Raging Bolt isn't really gonna I have no reason to preserve my Raging Bolt. I'm just gonna stay in, and they're gonna go for the Flare Blitz and take me out. Now, this was a point in the battle where I made a mistake. This Lunala, by the way, did not have Ice Beam. I had Teleport on this, and I have Will-O-Wisp and Hex. So I wanted to go for the Will-O-Wisp and burn this Koraidon on the off chance that I was going to be able to tank a Flare Blitz, but the Flare Blitz just did way too much damage to me, and I was like, oh my goodness, I assume after the damage, because remember, I have Shadow Shield, which halves the damage on full HP. This is like choice banded. So they're going to go for another Flare Blitz even after the bird. That's going to take me out. I think I should have went for the Hex that turn. Although the Koraidon is going to take some big recoil damage, but after the burn, it's going to put it on just around half HP. So once again, I'm relying on my Terra Normal E-Speed from my Raikou, but the Koraidon is on a lot more HP than in the previous battle. So I'm hoping that this E-Speed is going to be enough to take out this Koraidon, and because I'm Life Orb boosted as well, and also, or I could get a critical hit as well. So I'm gonna go for the Terra Normal Extreme Speed. I'm like, please, please, please take it out. Unfortunately, it doesn't miss. It doesn't get the KO. And as I take my Life Orb damage, this Pokemon is going to go for the Flare Blitz. That is easily going to take out my Raikou, even after the burn. This Pokemon does so much damage with a Choice Band. But the interesting thing about this is that they actually take some massive recoil damage, and that's also going to take them out. So this video has 2 draws in it. It has 2 ties. I've never had a video with 2 ties before. It was crazy, let alone any ties in any video, right? So thank you all so much for watching. My name is SkyLaaa. Don't forget to smile, and I will see you all next time.